Garrett Wilson's name being thrown into trade talks caught the league off guard. A premier wide receiver in his prime, Wilson is reportedly on the table in a $200 million package aimed at prying Shedeur Sanders from the Cleveland Browns. That move, spearheaded by an AFC contender desperate for a young quarterback, signals how high Sanders' stock has risen, even if the Browns seem reluctant to act like it. For the Jets, Wilson is the price of a future franchise quarterback. For Cleveland, the offer forces a reckoning. Continue sitting on untapped potential, or capitalize now and double down on organizational caution. But Cleveland's hesitation isn't just about value, it's about vision. The Browns' quarterback carousel and lack of developmental strategy are once again under scrutiny. With Shedeur being kept away from first-team reps and a chaotic front office culture looming large, this moment represents more than a trade dilemma. It's a referendum on whether Cleveland is capable of building around a young star or doomed to repeat the same missteps that have haunted their quarterback room for decades. Shedeur Sanders might be the most talked about rookie in football, and somehow he's not even seeing the field. Not only that, he might not even be in Cleveland for much longer. Because now, there's a $200 million trade package on the table. Yes, you heard that right. An AFC team, reportedly the New York Jets, has put together a blockbuster deal to pry Shedeur out of Cleveland. Garrett Wilson, multiple draft picks, everything short of the Statue of Liberty. And the Browns? They're still undecided. This isn't just about a trade. It's about whether Cleveland can ever stop sabotaging its own quarterbacks. You'd think any team getting that kind of offer would be thrilled, especially for a player they're barely using. But in Cleveland, it's not that simple. Because this isn't just a football decision. It's a front office meltdown in slow motion. Let's get this straight. You have Shedeur Sanders, college standout, media draw, and son of Deion freaking Sanders. He comes into the league with all eyes on him, all the potential in the world, and the kind of confidence teams usually have to teach rookies.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
But instead of building around him, the Browns buried him behind the depth chart. No meaningful reps, no clear path to the field. Just vibes. And now that another team sees his value and is willing to go all in, Cleveland looks like a deer in headlights. Kevin Stefanski is reportedly under major pressure, scrambling to figure out whether they should take the deal or commit to developing Shedeur. But if they were serious about development, we wouldn't be having this conversation in the first place. It's the same dysfunction that's haunted the Browns for years. A quarterback carousel. Confusing decision-making. No consistent plan. And now, another young quarterback with massive potential is being wasted, not because he isn't good enough, but because the franchise doesn't know what it wants. Shedeur's stuck in a system that hasn't made up its mind. 1 minute, he's the future. The next, he's a bench warmer. And meanwhile, the Jets are knocking, ready to throw him into an offense and let him actually play. This is where the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. In New York, they're not pretending. They need a quarterback. They're openly desperate for someone who can lead their offense, not just hold a clipboard. And they're making it clear. Shedeur would walk in and get opportunities. That's the key difference. Cleveland has a quarterback with high upside and isn't using him. New York sees that same upside and is ready to give him meaningful development time, live reps, and actual game experience. It's not a debate about talent. It's a debate about trust and direction. And right now, Cleveland is leaning way too hard into indecision. Some insiders claim it's strategic. That Stefanski might be protecting Shedeur from a weak offensive line. That they don't want to ruin him early by throwing him into a broken offense. Okay, fair. But you don't protect a quarterback by sidelining his development entirely. You still give him reps. You still prep him for the moment. Development doesn't happen in the dark. It happens on the field, in the film room, with actual game plans and practice reps, not just vague promises about the future. And while Cleveland dithers, the Jets are dangling Garrett Wilson like it's nothing. That should say everything. The Jets are ready to trade a Pro Bowl caliber receiver and picks for Shedeur. That's not a rumor. That's an indictment of Cleveland's handling of this entire situation. Because if Shedeur's value is that high to other teams, why are the Browns acting like he's just a second-string insurance policy? It's not just a mistake, it's a pattern. This is the same team that cycled through more quarterbacks than most franchises have in a decade. This is the same team that had chances, so many chances, to build around real talent and chose chaos instead. And now, with Shedeur, it's happening all over again. Only this time, the stakes are even higher. Because this isn't just a rookie with potential. This is a media magnet. A quarterback with national attention and a famous last name. One who draws eyes, headlines, and expectations the moment he walks into the building. That kind of attention makes people nervous. And in Cleveland's case, it looks like it's paralyzing the decision makers. They don't want to look like they're handing the reins to Deion's son. They don't want the media circus. They don't want to be accused of favoritism or hype buying. But in trying to avoid the spotlight, they're failing in the worst way possible, by refusing to act. That indecision is exactly what gives this saga its chaotic energy. Because every side of the story points to a franchise that doesn't know whether it wants to build a future or protect its brand image. And that's where the speculation gets loud. Some say the Browns drafted Shedeur not for football reasons, but for marketing. To sell tickets. To stay relevant. To cash in on the Sanders name. And if that's true, even partially true, it would explain why they're so reluctant to play him. Why they're treating him more like a billboard than a quarterback. Why they haven't developed a clear roadmap for him as the face of the franchise. But here's the thing. Talent isn't a marketing asset. It's either something you build around or something you waste. There's no middle ground. If Cleveland wanted Shedeur to be their guy, we'd know by now. He'd be getting reps. He'd be working with the first team. He wouldn't be a background character in his own development arc. And the fact that a $200 million offer hasn't already been rejected tells you they don't see him as untouchable. It tells you they're not fully bought in. Which means the Jets might actually have a shot. Because from their perspective, this is a no-brainer. Shedeur walks into New York, gets real snaps, plays through mistakes, and grows. And if he succeeds, which by the way he absolutely could, they look like geniuses. They gave up a lot, but they gained a franchise quarterback. Cleveland, on the other hand, would be left with more picks, a new receiver, but no long-term solution at quarterback. Again, this is where long-term vision separates good teams from confused ones. The Browns have a choice. Invest in a potentially elite quarterback and build stability for once, or trade him away and hope they strike gold with someone else down the line. Because if they let Shedeur go, and he turns into a star somewhere else, they're not going to be forgiven for this. Not by fans. Not by the media. Not by history. This is a franchise-defining moment. It's not about a press release or a vague promise about evaluating talent. It's about what Cleveland is willing to do. If they want to change the narrative, now's the time. Not next season. Not later in the year. Not after more development time. That doesn't involve actual playing time. Right now. Commit or cut bait. Shedeur Sanders is either your future or someone else's. Let us know what you think. Should Cleveland trade Shedeur Sanders for that massive package? Or should they finally wake up and start treating him like the quarterback they drafted? Tap like if you're tired of seeing rookie QBs wasted by indecisive franchises. Drop a comment if you think Shedeur deserves a fresh start with a team that'll actually develop him. And subscribe if you're ready for more NFL drama, because if this deal goes through, or if it doesn't, things are about to get a whole lot messier. This situation? It's no longer just about Shedeur Sanders. It's about Cleveland, a $200 million question, and the kind of dysfunction that somehow keeps finding new ways to reinvent itself. Let's talk about what happens if the Browns keep Shedeur. No trade. No Garrett Wilson. No picks. Just a promising rookie QB stuck behind some vague idea of development that hasn't translated to any real opportunity. What then? Well, first, you've got an unhappy fan base. Because fans aren't stupid. They're watching other rookie QBs around the league get meaningful reps, while Shedeur continues to ride the bench in a city that's allergic to quarterback stability. Then you've got the locker room. Veterans notice when talent's being wasted. They see when the front office is making moves for PR and not for wins. And when a quarterback controversy drags out like this, it sends a message, not just to Shedeur, but to everyone on the roster. If your franchise can't commit to a clear direction, why should anyone else buy in? And let's be real, players talk. Agents talk. Everyone in the NFL world has already heard the rumors that Shedeur is being used more as a brand asset than an actual quarterback. That the Browns are scared to play him, not because he's bad, but because the optics are too complicated. You think that doesn't mess with the vibe inside the building? It's not just about who's under center. It's about whether this organization is actually serious about winning. Because all signs point to a team more worried about optics than output. Meanwhile, the Jets are ready to pull the trigger. They've seen enough. They want a quarterback who can be molded into their system. Someone who doesn't need to be a Hall of Famer on day one, but has the confidence, toughness, and football IQ to grow into the role. That's exactly who Shedeur is. Not a finished product, but someone who wants the pressure, who doesn't shy away from scrutiny, who has a built-in chip on his shoulder and the backing of a football legend who just so happens to be his father. In other words, perfect for a franchise that's tired of Band-Aid solutions and desperate for a quarterback they can finally build around. Let's not forget, the Jets have been living in quarterback purgatory for years. They've tried everything. Now they're offering a $200 million package to take a swing on someone they actually believe in. And that's what stings the most in Cleveland. Because this offer isn't just a flattering valuation of Shedeur. It's a total exposure of how little confidence the Browns have shown in themselves. It's a spotlight on the indecision, the lack of reps, the strange silence, the failure to actually develop the guy they drafted. How do you explain to your fans that another team values your quarterback more than you do? And let's talk about the Garrett Wilson angle again. That part of the offer is huge. Wilson isn't just a solid receiver. He's a legitimate offensive weapon. Putting him on the table means the Jets are willing to bet big. That's a calculated move. That's a sign of trust. And Cleveland? Still thinking about it. Still unsure. Still floating around in this gray area where they kind of want to keep Shedeur, but also kind of want the trade package, and also kind of want to avoid a full-on quarterback controversy. You can't win in this league by being that indecisive. There's a reason the good teams, the teams that consistently contend, are aggressive when it counts. They make their decisions early, and they own them. What the Browns are doing is the opposite. And the longer it goes on, the worse the optics get. Every day Shedeur isn't playing or being traded is another headline. Another round of speculation. Another reminder that the Browns are at the center of a controversy they created for themselves. And the worst part? Shedeur hasn't even done anything wrong. He's not holding out. He's not stirring the pot. He's just sitting quietly in the middle of a PR storm that he didn't ask for. Waiting. Watching. Knowing full well that the rest of the league sees his value, while his own team pretends they need more time. You think that doesn't wear a guy down? Let's be honest. If you're Shedeur Sanders, how much trust do you have left in this front office? How much faith do you have in a coaching staff that won't even give you second-team reps? How long are you supposed to wait before you start thinking, maybe I'd be better off somewhere else? Because at this point, that question's not just valid, it's necessary. This isn't college ball anymore. This is the NFL. You only get so many years to prove yourself. And when those years are spent on the sideline, watching veterans get snaps while your name's only being used to sell jerseys, that's not development. That's exploitation. Let's go deeper into the marketing angle, because it matters. Cleveland knew exactly what they were getting when they drafted Shedeur Sanders. They knew the media spotlight would follow him. They knew Dion would be part of the conversation. They knew that this wasn't just a quarterback, they were getting a brand. And instead of leaning in and using that spotlight to show the world they're building something real, they've shrunk from it. Played scared. Like they didn't know what to do once the cameras actually showed up. That's not a Shedeur problem. That's a Browns problem. They brought the spotlight in, and then panicked once they were in it. Meanwhile, other teams are thriving in that same space. The Jets? They'd welcome that attention. They'd make Shedeur the face of the franchise overnight. Press conference, highlights, interviews, all of it. Because that's what you do when you actually believe in your player. You show it. Publicly. Strategically. Consistently. Cleveland has done the exact opposite. No support. No clear messaging. Just mixed signals and a whole lot of wasted time. And the result? A $200 million ultimatum. Either trade the quarterback you're not developing, or finally start acting like he's the future. That's the choice. And there's no third option. Because if they keep dragging this out, the damage becomes irreversible. Trust is already slipping. The locker room is already watching. The league is already gossiping. And fans? They're already fed up. You can't market a franchise quarterback if you don't actually treat him like one. So let's bring it all home. Cleveland is sitting on a quarterback that other teams would build an offense around tomorrow. They've got a massive trade offer in front of them, and they still haven't made a move. That tells you everything you need to know. This isn't just about football. This is about identity. Are the Browns a team that learns from its past, or one that keeps repeating it? Are they committed to long-term success, or are they more worried about optics and short-term comfort? Are they ready to put Shedeur Sanders on the field? Or are they going to let him become another name on the long list of what could have been in Cleveland? Because if they don't move soon, they're not going to have a choice. That trade offer might disappear. Or worse, Shedeur might decide he's done waiting. And that would be the worst outcome of all. The Browns are standing at a crossroads, and whichever direction they take, there's no going back. They either double down on Shedeur Sanders and start acting like he's the quarterback of their future, or they send him packing for picks and talent that, let's be honest, probably won't fix the problem. Because if this were just about talent, Cleveland wouldn't be in this mess in the first place. This is about culture, about leadership, about whether the Browns actually know what they're doing with a franchise quarterback when they finally get one. And here's the twist. Shedeur isn't going to wait forever. You can already feel it. The longer he sits, the more this story morphs from rookie waiting for his moment to young star being held hostage by dysfunction. Every rookie quarterback deserves time to develop, but development without direction? That's just stalling. The Browns can talk all they want about strategy and patience, but when the only thing more consistent than your quarterback controversy is your losing record, maybe it's time to stop calling it strategy and start calling it what it is: fear. Because that's what this feels like, an organization afraid to take the leap, afraid of the media circus that follows Deion Sanders' son, afraid of what it means if they name Shedeur the starter and he struggles early, afraid of blowing it. Again. And when fear drives decision-making, failure usually follows. The thing is, Shedeur isn't just some untested wildcard. He's a polished, media-savvy, high-IQ quarterback with composure, accuracy, and a work ethic that's been praised at every level. He's not begging for stardom. He's asking for the opportunity to earn it. But Cleveland, for reasons only they understand, keeps acting like they're not sure what to do with him. Meanwhile, other teams are sure. The Jets? Beyond ready. They've got the roster. They've got the urgency. And most importantly, they've got a front office that actually seems interested in building around a young quarterback. That's the contrast that's killing the Browns in the court of public opinion. It's not just that another team wants Shedeur. It's that another team sees more in him than the franchise that drafted him. How do you explain that? You can't. Not with press releases. Not with vague coach speak about evaluating all options. At some point, you either believe in your quarterback or you don't. And if you do, you show it. Not in interviews, not in commercials, but in reps, snaps, starts. Instead, Cleveland is just waiting. For what? Clarity? Consensus? A sign from the football gods? Let's be honest. It looks like they're waiting for the problem to solve itself. And that's the kind of leadership that turns potential into regret. You can't half-develop a quarterback. It's not a part-time job. It's a full commitment. You build your offense around him. You design game plans for him. You work through the mistakes, the learning curve, the growing pains. You invest. And if the Browns aren't willing to do that, then what are we even doing here? You don't draft someone like Shedeur Sanders and then treat him like a marketing tool. He's not just there to look good on posters or move merch. He's a quarterback. A really good one. And while Cleveland is busy being cautious, they're also burning valuable time. Quarterbacks don't develop on the bench forever. You don't become elite by watching someone else take reps. And you sure as hell don't fulfill your potential in a system that's afraid to trust you. And let's say, for argument's sake, that Cleveland does take the trade. They send Shedeur to New York or wherever else this deal's being built around. What does that say about their vision? What does that tell future quarterbacks, free agents, or draft picks? It tells them this is a franchise that still doesn't know how to commit. Because this isn't just about trading a player. It's about what that trade means. It would signal that Cleveland either never believed in Shedeur to begin with, or worse, that they did, but didn't have the guts to follow through. And guess what? That kind of reputation sticks. Other teams are watching. Agents are watching. Players are watching. And if the message coming out of Cleveland is, we'll draft you, hype you up, then sit you down and shop you around, what kind of player wants to walk into that? The Browns need a win, not just on the field, but in how they handle this. Because this story, it's already gotten too big to sweep under the rug. The $200 million figure. The Garrett Wilson name. The public pressure on Stefanski. It's all out there. Every headline, every hot take, every speculation about why the Browns can't just make a decision. It's all fuel for the fire. And that fire isn't going away. If they keep Shedeur and still don't play him, it gets worse. If they trade him and he thrives somewhere else, it gets way worse. There's no clean exit here. Only two roads. One where Cleveland finally steps into a new era by trusting their quarterback, and one where they go down the same path they've always gone, mired in indecision, haunted by what could have been. The fan base deserves better. The locker room deserves better. And Shedeur? He deserves clarity. Because this isn't just a PR mess anymore. It's a defining moment. The kind of choice that separates serious franchises from the ones stuck in neutral. And right now, Cleveland is sitting in the middle, engine running, headlights on, waiting for someone else to tell them which way to turn. They've got a quarterback. They've got a suitor. They've got a spotlight. What they don't have is time. So make a move. Believe in your guy. Or let him go to a team that will. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Cleveland build around Shedeur or cut ties now? Smash the like button if you're tired of seeing QBs get caught in the crossfire of bad management. And if you want more of this drama, and let's be honest, it's not going anywhere, make sure you're subscribed. Because no matter what happens next, one thing's guaranteed. This saga is far from over.